Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hola amigos, hola amigas, bienvenidos. Again, welcome to Lima, Peru. Welcome to another episode of my From Home events. And today, celebrating a very important event that is happening really far, far, far away from Peru, but we are in our hearts there. It actually happened last Friday, is the Independence Day of Poland. And the reason why two Peruvians are celebrating such interesting event so far away is because my husband Marek, present here next to me, is Peruvian Polish. So today we are going to share with you, Marek in particular, what it means being a Peruvian Polish. What are the meeting points between both cultures? Why it's so special also to be a representative of both nations. And I will let you know also later how it feels to be married to a Polish man. So, be welcome, enjoy. My name is Vanessa, and
My name is Marek Sakrzewski.
exactly, I'm Vanessa Vasquez, by the way, and feel welcome here in my home in Lima, Peru. We are transmitting live here in Hago. It is about 12:45.
Yes.
Noon.
Midday, the noon.
And let first say welcome to you all, and we want to just say hi to everyone that is joining name by name. So hello Fiona, hi Marilyn, thanks for joining. Hola Andrea amiga, hello. Hi Kaki, so good to have you again. Memphis, hola, thanks for joining. Hi Margie, Berhan amigo, hola hola. Thanks for coming. Hi, Queen Arlene. Hello, Ella from Barso. Hola, Ella. Hello. Hi, Adrian. Again, amigo. Hi, Culture D. So good to have you here. Thanks for joining. Thank you so much for visiting Lima. I really hope you enjoy the event. And here my friend Berhard is surprising us with some Polish.
Dobry wieczór, Berhard. Dobry wieczór, Ela. Bardzo mi miło.
By the way, Marek speaks Polish, and he's really fluent in Polish. Polish is his mother language, to be very honest, because he was born in Poland, and he speaks, of course, Peruvian perfectly.
So let me tell them a little about my history. I'm half Polish and half Peruvian. My father is Polish and my mom is Peruvian. I was born in Szczecin in Poland in 1977. I'm 45 years old. My mom was get a stipendium for studying in Poland in the 70s. She met my father there. They get married. I was born in Poland, and I came here as a little boy when I was 5 in 1982 because of the war state in Poland that starts on December of 1981. So everyone want to escape or get out from the country. Many people go to North America for sure, and some of them to South America too. That's the history of my family. On the next year, my sister was born here in Lima, so we stay here in Peru. So actually, my first language was Polish, and then I learned Spanish here in Peru. I came back to Poland in the 90s to study, so I enjoy too much those years in Poland. And in the last 24 years, I live here in Peru. I work as a tour leader. I'm also a guide. And working, I met Vanessa. So we get in love, we have married, and now we have our family. Yeah? And we work in tourism all the time. I organize groups for Polish tourists, and I travel with them and show all Peru. That's my background.
Exactly. Oh, lucky us. We were able to meet doing what we love. And we are both tour guides, as you know. So Marek is going also to tell you during this event how it feels being Polish in Peru, and also the importance of the Polish immigration for Peru, because this is an event from home, but it's not just a conversation. We're going to share with you the names of some of the most important Polish men who visited Peru, who fell in love of Peru, who decided to stay in Peru, who embraced this nation as their own, and who actually, let's say, set roots here in Peru, marrying Peruvians, having children in Peru. Feel free, by the way, to comment in Polish, in English, in Spanish. We're already seeing some comments
Yes,
also to start. See?
I had my favorite food, Polish food, moje ulubione polskie jedzenie. So I love bigos. And Vanessa too.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
And also all kinds of sausages from Poland that we get to receive sometimes with our tourist groups from Poland that come, and they also bring a little bit of their culture, and we also share with them our culture through food as well, no? Pierogis, piernikis,
yes.
Vodka.
Żubrówka is my favorite one.
Exactly. So, amigos, feel comfortable to do as many questions here in the chat zone. We have a beautiful chat section where we can get to read you, know what you're thinking about. And we're going also to start projecting some images in a moment that we have prepared for this special event. Marek, let them know again what we are celebrating also.
The 11 November, the Independence Day of Poland. In 1918, Poland came back on the maps of the world after more than 120 years of don't existing as a country, no, because it was divided between Austria, Russia, and Prussia in 1795. So after 123 years, Poland came back to the world maps. Who makes the bigos? It's a very interesting history. My mom, now my Peruvian mom. When my mom went to Poland, she went to study there, and she doesn't know how to cook any meal from Peru, from Poland, or from anywhere, and she needs to learn how to cook. No? There were no YouTube, no internet at that time, so she starts to learn how to cook in Polish ways. So she makes her first bigos before she made her first ceviche.
And she cooks really, really beautiful, by the way. So we're going to start also with this event, and I hope you enjoy it. We hope you enjoy it. This is a very, very, let's say, special event because we Peruvians are formed by different let's say immigrations as well. No, we are very, very mixed culturally, and one of those groups from Europe that arrived in the 19th century were Polish people. But this is really a very small group. So that's why for us it's important to honor this small group who had also given us so much to this nation, to Peru. So we're going to begin, and we're going to begin with a very important person, Marek.
Okay, this is maybe the most important Polish person that came here in our history. His name is Ernest Malinowski. He was a Polish engineer. The Polish presence in Peru can date back since the colonial times, because when we were a colony from Spain, the Viceroyalty of Peru, so the people from Spain can come, and also Catholics, no Protestants, no Jews, no other religions. So a lot of Polish missionaries came with Jesuits. So the Jesuits established missions in the forest of Peru, in the mountains. There were a lot of Polish priests in that groups. But the first important person that came here and make a big impact in our history is Ernest Malinowski. As you see, you can see on the right side the years when he lived, 1818 and 1899. He was a Polish engineer that studied in France, in the School of Engineering in France, and he came to Peru in 1852. No? Peru get the independence in 1821, or proclaimed independence in 1821. So 30 years after, come Ernest Malinowski. During the 40s and the 50s of the 19th century, Peru started to export a very important natural resource that give a lot of money to the Peruvian government, the guano. The guano Vanessa mentioned many times is the dry poo of the seabirds that can be picked in the islands in front of the coast, and is a very important, very powerful fertilizer. Mhm. So Peru start to make a lot of money with that. So they have the money, but they don't have the people with the knowledge how to develop a country. We still use the colonial or the Incan roads, the colonial or Incan bridges, and the ports were very old. So we need to modernize the country. So we have the money, and we send a mission to France in order to employ some engineers. So the Peruvian mission get to Paris and start to ask in the engineering school for engineering to Peru, but it was a very difficult times. There were no existing the Panama Channel yet, so the travel to Peru was through Cape Horn in the south of the continent. 3 months of sailing, very unsafe. So we don't know if we came back or not, if you can came back or not. So of course, if the situation is dangerous and risky, you will have a policeman there.
It is true. Polish men and women also have traveled the world to the most distant locations in planet Earth, looking for adventure, looking for getting to know the unseen, getting to understand the things that most people were really not even able to imagine that they existed. So I think one of the biggest motivations for many of these Polish men to come not just to Peru or to the Americas was to discover. No, they are natural discoverers, no, and very adventurous. So that's also one of the things we think Polish men have done in our favor the most is exploring. Mm-hmm.
I think when when the Peruvian mission explains the situation and the conditions to the engineers, so the only one that raised the hand up was Malinowski.
Exactly. All the rest of the candidates, they say, "Oh no, no, no," but he said, "Yes, I can do it. It's difficult. It's impossible. Yes, yes, I will go."
So he came here in 1852 and started to work immediately in a very interesting project. The first railway in South America was the railway between Lima and Callao. It was just 17 kilometers long, but this was the first railway. He take part in this project, and he started to gain fame as a good engineer. And then he get the project of his life. No, the project of his life is this one. Please show me.
And Ella, by the way, thank you so much for your support. Muchas gracias.
No, dziękuję, dziękuję bardzo, Ela. This is the Trans-Andean Railway. Of course, this is a modern picture, but this was a big project that exists in the 70s of the 19th century. Before even the planning of the Channel of Panama, it was a big plan to join both oceans, but very ambitious. Make a railway line from the port of Callao in Lima that need to cross the Andes and get to the Ucayali River. The Ucayali River flows in direction to the Amazon, and through the Amazon get into the Atlantic. Peru has the money, as I told you, because of the guano, and the main director of the main engineer of the project was Ernest Malinowski. Let me show you now a little bit of the map, how they do it. The river Ucayali, can I have okay. This is Lima, okay. The river Ucayali is farther here in the jungle. So the project wasn't finished. Why? Because we had the war with Chile. The project starts in 1870, and in 1879 we had the war, and the project was canceled. Malinowski direct the wars until La Oroya, until this place. This is 150 kilometers, or almost 100 miles of railway in very difficult conditions, because here starts the Andes, you see, very close to the ocean. So he need to conquer high altitudes until in this point here is the highest point of all the project that reach 4,818 meter height. Before you take the next one, the project was finished here in 1879, or was stopped here, and was continued after the death of Malinowski. In 909 was finished through Cerro de Pasco, continue on Cerro de Pasco and to Huancayo. No, because there were no other engineer with the abilities to cross the next Andean passes, no, to the east. So they continue between the mountains. Okay? But here is the highest point. Please show me the next.
And we have a really interesting set of questions that we're going to be answering, of course, indeed, in a moment, properly one by one. You can start sending your questions, by the way, for Marek about, let's say, his preferences, all the things he like, and also questions about what he's doing here, explain the history. So don't feel shy with your questions, amigos. We're going to cover them all. Thank you, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And this is the highest point of the railway. It's 130 kilometers just from the sea level. So it's very close, and the altitude is 4,818 meters. So it's more or less 15,800 feet above sea level. It's 15,807 feet above sea level. It was the highest railway on the world until 2005. In 2005, the Chinese built another one in Tibet that is 200 meters higher, but it doesn't start from the sea level, so it's still the biggest declinations in railways on the world, using the technology of 150 years ago. More than 6 kilometers of tunnels and iron bridges between the mountains. It's impressive, huh? And it's still open as a touristic attraction that you can go on this train when we have long weekends. So each second month, so you can have the possibility to get into the train and make this trip. The train is working every day, taking minerals from the mines that are in the Andes in direction to the port, no? Because mining is very important for the main important economical activity in Peru.
So today we are talking, by the way, for our amigos that are just joining the event, about the Polish heritage in Peru and the important Polishmen in our history. So we just talked about Ernest Malinowski, an amazing engineering, an amazing man who did something no other person dared to do, which was building, or he decided to build a train line from the coast, zero sea level, right, to the Andes, the central Andes, reaching up this high level, almost 5,000 meters above sea level. So we will continue. You can also leave your questions about the event, and also questions for Marek to the end of the event to answer. No worries.
Yes, I see many questions. The work of Malinowski was very good, and the Peru government asked him to bring more people like him, more Polish engineers. Remember that in those days, there were no Poland, no? There were no Poland because Poland doesn't exist, so he was the representative of a nation that
didn't exist
in the maps, an ambassador of the Polish nation, no? Because it was not a state, it was a nation. So he brings Edward Habig, another very important engineer. Edward Habig, with a group of engineers, they found the first technical university in South America in 1876. Is the National University of Engineer, one of the best in Peru and in the continent, and it's still working. And it was founded, and the first by Polish engineer, and the first teachers of the university were Polish. And they have a monument close to the downtown of the city. It's a very important monument that no other nations have in Lima. It's the monument for the Polish engineers. In the middle is Edward Habig, and in the sides there are 4 Polish engineers that developed the telegraph system, for example, develop railways. They open new mines and make the security system for mines. They assembled the first boat in Titicaca Lake. Now everything was done with by these Polish engineers. Below the name of the engineers are the name of the an alumno,
Students.
the students that were engineers too, and they opened this monument in 1935, commemorate the centennial of the birth of Edward Habich. No? It's a very important point. When I have Polish tourists, I always take them because it's very significant for the Polish community.
Oh, Ella, we are so sorry you have to go, but no worries because this event, we record our events and we upload them all, like for everyone who wants to learn about Lima and its history in our YouTube channel. Ella, you can come later to YouTube. You will see this full event there as many times as you wish. And you can find us on Adventuros Travel Guide in YouTube. So we are going to be happy now to know that you can see it all later. Thanks for your help, amiga. Thanks for your support. Also, something important to I think to say to complete this idea of the monument. As Marek said, there is no other nation that has such honor in Peru, like Poland, having a monument dedicated to that nation within our country, right? So that we have paid for, in which we are honoring men not born in Peru, but also that had contributed this much to who we are nowadays. So this is as a Peruvian, I am full Peruvian, not Peruvian Polish as like my husband, but it is amazing, no? All what they have done, and also how Peru tries in this way to give back something, to return something to these people. Mare, do you remember the names of these men? Yes, Dorota. So do you remember the name of them?
Of course, of everyone. Władysław Kluger, Aleksander Babinski, Marian Folkierski, and the last one is Wakulski, Krzysztof Wakulski.
And this is Habich, right?
This is Edward Habich in the middle.
Exactly. So, and here another very sentimental moment. So here we have two very important symbols connected with Peru and Lima in particular, because this is the coat of arm of Lima. This is the coat of arm of the city of Lima, and this one, of course, is the coat of arm of Poland.
The eagle with the crown, and in honor of the Polish people in Peru.
So we have also, next, another important monument.
Another important monument is Malinowski, also the engineer of the train. The monument for Malinowski is in the highest point of the railway. So in 4,880 meter high, is one of the highest monuments on the world for sure. And it was established there or left there in 1999, commemorating the 100 years of his death.
Yes, exactly.
But not only engineers came in those years, also there were a lot of naturalists, biologists that want to explore the new world and came from different parts of Europe, of course, not only from Poland, but also there were some Polish here, and they discovered many species of birds, insects, butterflies, plants, even mammals that have in the specific name some Polish last name. One of them was Konstynielski. They work for different museums, for example, in Europe. So they show feathers, plants, and different things, and of course discover a lot of species. For example, here we have a very nice bird. It's a tangara. It's an Andean tangara or Tangara de Yelski, a very colorful bird. Another one is Jan Stolzmann. Jan Stolzmann also discovered many species like this very nice here, green-head hummingbird, from the Amazonia. And the most important of those naturalist explorers was Jan Kalinowski. Jan Kalinowski specialized more in mammals. He also worked in the jungle between Cusco and Puerto Maldonado, and he discovered different species of bats and opossums, and also rodents that have the specific name Kalinowski. Kalinowski was established in Peru because the other one, Bielski and Stolzmann, made here the research and they discovered many species, but then they came back to Europe. But Jan Kalinowski stays and remained in Peru. He was married with a Peruvian woman. It was the year 1889, and he established a family, and he has 13 kids.
Wow.
13 kids. So Kalinowski is nowadays, of course, as you suppose, the most common last name in the Polish-Peruvian community because he make a lot of descendants.
Many Kalinowskis
Many
in Peru.
Kalinowskis. And one of his son, now we start with the mixed one person, no? Speaking about heritage, so there were also Polish-Peruvians like me who also make very important things for the country. For example, one of his son, Celestin Kalinowski, he was half Peruvian and half Polish. He were also very interested in nature, and he continued his research in this part that is marked on the Peruvian map. Nowadays, this is the biggest and most important national park of Peru, the National Park of Manu. He make research there, and he start to send letters to the Peruvian government that we need to establish here a national park because of the diversity, and the region was in danger in the 60s. There were people coming there to cut trees, for example, or hunting on animals for the skins, for example, for jaguars or ocelots. So he claimed to the government to make a protected area. The government sent some specialists, and thanks to his insisting.
Yes, he was persisting, no?
Was persisting on that. Finally, in 1973, the Peruvian government established the National Park of Manu. That was the biggest here. It's around 2 million hectares. It's more than less the size of Belize or El Salvador. It's just forest, no? Thanks to Celestin Kalinowski. He dies in 1986. And Fernando Shishro is another very important half Peruvian and half Polish. He's a plastic artist. He introduced the impressionist, the style that Picasso proposed in Spain. He introduced that style in Peru, and is the maximum expressionist artist, plastic artist we have in Lima. He dies in 2017, 5 years ago, in a home accident. He was over 90 years. But the most important piece of art that we have in the city is the Intihuatana, the sundial that is in Miraflores on the cliffs in front of the Love Park. So maybe if some of you were here in Lima, were in the Love Park, so maybe you was there
in my
also.
tours.
Yeah,
in my virtual Vanessa, tours as well.
We show that piece. And talking about women.
Oh, finally, Marek. I was worrying, like, only men? What about women? Very important person, Maria Rostorovsky. Just saying few words about her because Marek will explain more. This woman is a very, very important person in the history, in the field of historians of Peru. And this woman is considered to be also not just she was a self-taught, let's say, historian, because she officially didn't study history in the university, but she wanted to recopilate information about the pre-Hispanic times that no other specialist was searching for. She consulted sources which were for example, old documents and commentaries and chronicles, and she cataloged them all and made a lot of different books, all dedicated to those unheard voices of the past. So, Marek?
Yeah, she is, of course, one of our main sources of information. When we present tours about the Incas time or even the Conquest time. So she's one of the best informed resources of that topic. She passed away in 2015, and she reached 100 years old. She was also one of the founders of Instituto de Estudios Peruanos. I don't know how.
Oh, the Institute of Peruvian Studies.
Yeah, that was founded in 1964. So it's a very important people in the Academy of Peru. And he was, of course, honored being in the bill of 50 soles. No, this bill of 50 soles came this year. 50 soles is like $12, $13, more than less. So she's honored with a bill by the Peruvian government. And I don't know if someone of you can recognize this picture. You know where it is? No? No. Okay. We go now we were in 20th century, of course, when we talk about those descendants like Shishro, like Rosforovsky, like Celestin Kalinowski, we're talking about 20th century, not anymore the 19th century. And in 20th century, the tourism also starts in Peru on the last decades. And here we have the Colca Canyon, one picture of the Colca Canyon, one of the most important attractions, touristic points in Peru, that's located in the region of Arequipa. It's 1,000 kilometers south of Lima. It's the deepest canyon of the world. It's the deepest canyon of the world with a depth of 3,400 meters in the lower
point.
No, wall, the lower wall, because the canyons have two walls. No, the one is higher and the other is lower, and there's a lot of discussion about where is the deepest canyon of the world. But to count this, you need to count from the lower wall, not from the higher. If you count from the lower wall, Kolka is the deepest one with 3,400. Who established this? The Polish expeditioners. 6 guys from Poland that get into the wide waters of Kolka River in May of 1981 and spend there 100 days. And they, in their boats, they pass over 100 kilometers and make the measurements on the deepest point of the canyon. All of them are still alive. One of them is my close friend, and they make this discover for the world. They establish the deepest canyon on the world in 1981, and it's a very nice book wrote by one of them. It's in English, Rio Colca, and they explain all the adventures they have to get there. It's a very interesting and very easy to read book.
Exactly. It's easy to read, but the adventure is extreme. So nobody really, in all its senses would do such exploration. You need to have such, like strength inside you to go into an adventure in which, can be so extreme. No, so we highly recommend you to read that book, by the way.
Another very interesting aporte. How do you say aporte? Another very interesting field, where Polish are making important discoveries in Peru is the archaeology. We have missions of Polish archaeologists since the 90s, and they made very important discoveries to understand our pre-Columbian history. One of them is Miłosz Giersz, and I'm talking about 6-7 years ago. He discovered a very important place we call El Castillo. It's 350 kilometers north of Lima in the desert. He discovered a very important complex of cemeteries and graveyards from the Wari society that lives there between the years 600, 800 BC. And it's a very, very interesting place, and he established how far the Wari state goes onto the north.
What is one of the pre-Inca societies we had in Peru, and is considered to be also by many the first empire of Peru. Also, he, as many other international archaeologists, have dedicated years to understand the past of Peru, and it's important also to note that many Polish students come to Peru Peru every year to continue archaeological investigations, and also supported by universities from Poland, like the Warsaw University. Also, these are studies that are supported or sponsored internationally.
Yeah, there are missions established in Lima and also in Cusco and in Arequipa by Polish universities that support the works of archaeologists, of Polish archaeologists and also Peruvian archaeologists. Very important. The most important archaeology we have here and living in Lima, married with Peruvian woman and a mixed family is Krzysztof Makowski. Krzysztof Makowski was the dean. He works in one of the most prestigious private universities in the country, and he was the dean of the Faculty of Humanities there. And he conducts many research in Peru, and also he works with the Polish institution, the Polish University, and he developed these projects together. No? He's a very important person nowadays in the Peruvian culture. And also, of course, the Polish are very Catholic country, and they send missionaries from all over the world to all over the world. And here we have an example of how deep can be the love the Polish can have to Peru, that some of them give their lives. So those are two Polish monks. The highest one is Zbigniew Strzałkowski, and the little one is Michał Tomaszek. They were Franciscans. They work in mission in the Andes. And in year 1991, they were killed by terrorists, because the terrorists want them out of the region because they help the people, help the poor people, and the terrorists don't want their presence there. They treat them. They say you need to go. Of course, they stay and still work with the people. Finally, they were killed by terrorists. No? And in 2015, it was 1991. On August of 1991, they were killed there. They were buried in the church, in the chapel of the little town of Pariacoto, in the mountains of Peru. And in 2015, they get the beatification. So now they are beats.
They are beatos, yes. They are on their way to sanctity. And there is also every year let's say a pilgrimage that is usually made by many Polish travelers that come to Peru, to the place where they were killed and also where this monument is located. It's a way to honor also the memory of these men, which are already called saint by the people of the community where they live in Pariacoto, who were very, very like good-hearted people, young men who work in the favor of the poorest. And as Marek said, these are people who love so much Peru and so much Peruvian people that decided to stay, even though they were not permitted to do the mission here, and they were also in many cases alerted by the terrorists that they will be killed, and they said, no, we're going to stay to help the people that need us. So and finally
a very important is the Association of Families of Peruvian Polish Family that was created here in 1983. One of the founders of that association was my father, Jan Zakrzewski, and it's still working. It's almost 40 years of almost 40 years of activities that maintain the links between the Polish and Poland. We celebrate, of course, the festivities, the religious festivities. We celebrate the 3rd of May, the day of the Constitution, the 11th of November, the Independence Day. We also celebrate, of course, the day of the kids, the Kids Day, and Peruvian celebrations too. So it's a very important association that still exists and keep the unity or the contacts between Poland and Peru, besides the activity of the embassies and the official delegations. It's association is a very, very strong. Mhm.
Yes, yes. And also, well, now we're going to pass to the questions that I know there were many, many questions. Before that, if you want to also see the whole event recorded and posted like from beginning to end, later you can visit our channel. We have a YouTube channel, Adventurous Travel Guide, where you can see all our past events. We record them all for you, all my friends, because we want you to be able to learn more about Peru. And sometimes time was complicated. You have to work, you have to do things. So here you can see all our previous events. I hope you can follow also our channel. So we're going now to pass to answering some questions. And let me also read the questions and you will answer. Is that okay? So it said, what's your favorite holiday that is celebrated in Poland? Do you have any special holiday that is celebrated in Poland as a
Yeah,
Peruvian Polish?
when I was there, the 3rd of May,
Uh,
because the 1st of May was also free, and I don't go to study on the 2nd of May and the 3rd of May, and it started to get warm, so it was very nice.
and also, what is your favorite Peruvian holiday?
Um, the Independence Days, of course, in July, because it's the same. We have a lot of free time there.
Do you know if there is any, like they say, national flower of Poland and national flower of Peru?
I don't know about the national flower of Poland, but we have a national flower of Peru,
The
the
cantuta.
the cantuta.
Mm-hmm.
It's from the Titicaca Lake. It's a very nice red flower.
What is Peru known for? Oh,
Ooh.
woo.
The history, the food, the nature, music. Oh, it's very, very many topics.
What are some of the common touristic attractions in Poland? What are the common points in terms of tourism between Poland and Peru? Religion,
Mm,
maybe? Like tourism is there for religion as well as here?
yes,
Churches?
churches. Yeah, there are many Polish coming from churches. Another interesting is the love for nature. For example, the Polish also respect the nature and keep the nature, as we Peruvians.
What was your favorite part about living in Poland and why?
No, I was very young. I was around 20 years. So the parties,
Yeah, the girls?
yes, polskie dziewczyny.
Beautiful
Najlepsze
girls.
witaminy mają polskie dziewczyny.
Of course, of course. Pretty, pretty Polish woman. And he says here another thing, like favorite part about living in Peru. I know that one. Favorite part of living in Peru.
The food.
I knew it.
The food, and it's never cold.
What are some things Poland is known for? What are the things Poland is known for?
The same, the history, the culture, the good food, the cold.
Yes, very cool.
The vodka.
And Peru?
I mentioned, no, the history, the food, also the nature, the indigenous people.
What kind of food is Peru known for?
Fresh food, ceviche, seafood, the favorite one.
What was your favorite thing to do in Poland?
I love to walk on the medieval towns because it's something we don't have here. The architecture of the Gothic, the Breslau, Krakow. I love the history.
What is your favorite thing to do in Peru?
Go to the jungle.
The jungle, yes.
The jungle, yeah.
What are the three top main religions in Poland? Oh, is there any other besides Catholic?
There are some Orthodox in the east, I know. The Far East, I don't know.
And what are the top three religions in Peru?
Christian, Catholicism, evangelics.
And oh yes, that's right. That's a hard one because the third main religion we really don't have.
We really don't have
like a third main religion. We have lots of different minorities. From Jewish community, Muslim community. So the two most important in Peru are Catholic and Christian evangelical. Maybe Mormon. Maybe the Mormons are very, very big. What kind of music is Poland known for?
I don't know. Disco polo.
Disco polo. What kind of music Peru is known for?
I think the Andean music, the flutes.
Yes, a lot of that Andean rhythm, that is like with the flutes and the pan. That's more typical. But also a second music that is very, very, let's say, like connected with Peru is the Creole music, música criolla also, which is a fusion of the European waltz, the African rhythms, and a little bit of the Andean music all together create the Creole music. And we are going to the last ones. Polish favorites holiday. We already have that one. Holiday. Favorite things to do in Poland.
Yeah, I mentioned
already. Favorite Polish meal. Favorite Polish meal.
Bigos.
Favorite Peruvian meal.
Ceviche.
Peruvian snack.
Canchita.
That's corn. Polish snack.
Palushki.
He loves palushki. Those are like pretzels.
Pretzels, but long ones.
But long. Favorite Peruvian TV show? He doesn't. He doesn't see television. He sees documentaries about history all the time. But he's not really the usual Peruvian.
But I also like to see football.
Football. He loves football. Yeah, that's a good one. He loves football.
I will support Polish team now in Qatar.
Yes, yes. The same with Peruvian television. He doesn't watch much of Peruvian television. Favorite Polish sweet treat? Sweet.
Piernikis.
Piernikis. And Peruvian...
Krówki, vaquitas.
Krówki, piernikis, which are desserts, like little desserts, candies. And Peruvian treat, sweet treat.
Mazamorra.
You have to come to my tour of street food. I will show you what is mazamorra. It's really delicious. So, well, thanks so much for thank you for questions. I hope you enjoy a lot this event. Thanks a lot for coming.
And you need to tell them how is to be married with.
Oh yes, I promise. How it is, it's an adventure. It's really an adventure.
Let me tell you what I love to be Polish-Peruvian.
Yes, please go first. Marilyn, thanks.
A very good mixing. I love to live here. I'm very proud of my Polish roots. And the best part is to have good food everywhere. Nice persons in both sides. People with really good heart in Peru and in Poland, very sincere, spontaneous, because we always think that the Europeans are cold, but not the Polish, not the Polish, but very spontaneous and very nice
very
people.
Warm.
Very warm.
Hug you strong.
Especially after two setkas.
After a couple of podcasts, they even speak Spanish.
So tell them how is to be.
And we have also few more questions at the end, but I will tell you how it feels.
How common is to meet someone
with Polish last name?
It's not common. I'm the only one, for example, in my school. I meet people with Polish last name because of Don Polski, of the association, but it's not common to have a Polish last name.
To be very honest, before knowing Marek, and getting to know the association thanks to Marek and his family, I had no idea about all the history we are sharing today about the Polish presence in Peru, because lots of these characters are really not so well known. And also the community is very small.
Yeah, how big is the Polish community in Peru? It's counting the mixing marriage like us and the mixing people like me, maybe 1,000 people is really not too much for a country of 33 million inhabitants.
Kaki has a question also. Marek, can you read this one?
I'm really not teaching my kids to speak Polish, but about the heritage, yes, we talk a lot. I tell them histories, they eat Polish dishes, so they are also proud about the heritage. But yes, I did.
Kaki, he's really bad teacher. Like, really, my friends. Like, I teach my daughters English every day, and English is not my first language. But he's like, but Polish is a difficult language, which it is indeed. But I'm sure he's a little bit lazy about the language, but he speaks Polish beautifully. So he said one day we're going to learn it when we go to Poland. So maybe we're going to Poland to learn Polish one day and stay at maybe a season, maybe a sabbatic year, who knows? We'll see. I would love to go to Poland. Vanessa, have you been to Poland? No, Dorota, I never been. I've been to Poland just virtually with the tours of Tom Krakow. By the way, if you want to learn about Poland and see Poland live in Hego, we have a guy, Tom, that does tours there. And every time I want to see how Poland is doing, I join Tom's videos or lives. And well, from my family, from my father-in-law, he's wonderful. He's a wonderful man. So I learned a lot about Poland's history, like how it's being Polish, like the culture. Like our conversations in the house of my in-laws are all about how is life in Poland. And I feel, even I've been there, although I haven't been in person, because of all what I know from my family, my political family. And also, I don't speak Polish, Andrea. I don't speak Polish, but I was following a course in Duolingo, which is an app where you can learn a little bit of Polish. So I remember Marek just told me when we were starting to date, he told me, just few words. And then when we got married, I said, I wanna say something in Polish. So what can I say? You said like I should say like ja jestem żona Marka. Ja jestem żona Marka. And I said like what it means. Oh, that just say that, and that means I'm Marek's wife. So that's it. Also, yes, Dorota, Susana and Ella, yes, that's right. I just learned that they are doing also tours there in Poland. I am new to the Polish tours of them, but I will be also following them too. Thanks, Dorota. And how it feels being.
Dorota, you live in Poland or United States?
Let us know, please,
because
Dorota.
You're always with us.
Yes, we're so happy to have you always, to have you all really like friends. Thanks a lot for coming to learn more about our story. And well, I want to also let you know how it feels being married to a Polish man. Because when you married someone, you also married their family. Well, that's at least what we think here in Peru or Latin America, no? And it makes sense. So first of all, he doesn't look really very Peruvian, so I was very attracted to his looks, to how he looked. Also, I was attracted since the beginning about the history of Poland when we started to talk, and all the things he told me about the Polish presence in Peru. Also, one of the things I like about him is how adventurous he is, which I'm sure is part from his Polish side. It makes sense now to me like that. I find a lot of points in common between Poland and Peru. In the sense, for example, of being people very proud of their cultures, very proud of their traditions, very welcoming, very huggy, very kissy, we are sometimes Peruvians surprised when we meet Polish people, and they are not like the way most of us believe Europeans are, that are a little bit more distant in terms of, like in the personal space. Polish people like to hug and kiss immediately, so that's something that connects very fast to us. Also, I love that he has the best of two worlds. He has the best of Peru and he has the best of Poland. And he's a wonderful partner of life. So that's why.
As well, you.
Gracias. Thank you. And he cooks wonderful. So, he's not perfect. I'm not perfect, but we're perfect for each other. So, we are very happy to be able to share with you a little bit of our story, a little bit of who we are, a little bit of the heritage of Marek, my husband, my daughters as well. And also, we are celebrating today with you all a very special day, which is the day of the independence of Poland, that actually happened that last Friday on the 11th. But from this side of the world, we who are officially part of the Peruvian Polish community, we bless that land. We pray for that land. We always send the best feelings to there, because in my case, Poland gave me the love of my life, which is my husband, my father-in-law, and my family. So that's why for me, it's so important to share this part also of our story. Thank you so much. You're always welcome to come back here. Thanks for your tip support, amigos. Sorry, we saw some of you helping us. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, Andrea, Adrian, for staying until the very end. It's been very long. This is a very intimate, small group that we are happy to have. Thanks to all our friends who were able to come and make it in person. You know that you can see this event recorded on our YouTube channel. Did you experience a cultural clash when you first started dating? Yes, Kaki, yes.
I'm not because I'm Peruvian too.
Yes, no. Let me tell you what is the cultural clash that we have still nowadays. You're going to laugh. Punctuality. Punctuality. Because we have something called Peruvian time, which is when you go to you're invited to an event or a party. The event says 9 p.m. So that means you're going to come at 10, right? You will not make it never at 9. And my husband is extremely punctual. Like, he is even 5 minutes before the time, knocking the door already, or he's silently waiting outside the event, like with his clock, like waiting until it is exactly the time. And then at the time he rings the bell. So that never happens in Peru. And we live in Peru. We are not living in Poland. So that's the cultural clash, the biggest one we have. Also, Dorota, hope to see you. Yes, Dorota,
Yes.
come here, and we will take you everywhere.
In our,
email is info@adventurostravelguide.com. So you can send us anytime a message.
Social network.
Social network.
YouTube, she can connect us.
Yes, send us a message and we're going to reach out to you. Please let us know, because we want to show you, we want to invite you maybe to eat something, like maybe cook for you, maybe do something special for you, amigos.
Kaki, thank you.
Kaki, Dorota, gracias.
Kaki.
Thanks for your support. Gracias, amigo. Your cooking tools are great. Oh, gracias, Dorota. And soon Marek is going to be back.
Yes, we will make
cooking.
one here in the next days.
Yes, he's going to cook for you all. So
on this weekend, on this week we have some important also tours. Yes, we will drive in Lima. This will be very interesting.
It's going to be nerve-wracking. It's going to be fun. We have an event called Don't Drive Here, and it is about driving in Lima. Marek is going to be the macho driver, and I will be conducting the tour. No, so no worries, Dorota. I will not be driving.
It's just for
going
adults,
to drive. And you know why it's for adults? Yeah, not because the content outside is bad, because the words he's going to be using when he drives. But it's going to be in Spanish. No worries. We're going to censor that. I will not translate that to English. So
it will be on 17th.
Exactly. Give us a follow in the upper part. There is a button that says follow. If you would like to support the channel, you can either tip if you have the chance, if you have the economy. No worries if you cannot. We understand. We understand that not always people can support an event like this one with a tip. But we highly appreciate if it's possible, because this helps us to continue doing events. You can also adopt this channel, becoming our sponsor with a fixed monthly support. You can help us to continue doing events, and we are going to give you in return our books. We are writing 2 books, one about food, a cooking book, and also one is a guidebook of Lima that I am preparing, that will give you all the information about the city. So, well, thanks a lot for that. See you soon in the next events. Take care, amigos.
Take care.
Gracias.
Bye. Do widzenia.
Muchas gracias. Bye bye. See you soon. Take care. Have a lovely rest of the Sunday.